Hello, guys of United Rock Nations. We are in amazing company with Bjorn of SOILWORK. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for having me.
And we are here, of course, to talk about the new album. If I don't make a mistake, it's Overgivenheten.
Well done, well done.
that means
Brilliant.
the abandonment in
Yeah,
English.
yeah,
Our feeling listening to the album is that it is more organic than the previous ones.
yeah.
Are you agree with that? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we definitely been striving to sort of really have an organic sound where it really feels like a band playing, and of course we want it to be really hard hitting as well. But I think we found a really nice balance, and I think we've been working a lot with the dynamics as well on this album, and we had a lot of time, to record it, and we spread out the recording sessions, and I think it gave us some distance to the songs, and we could sort of feel them out more. It's kind of hard when you book a studio for 6 weeks and you just go in there and to sort of live and breathe those songs for that long, and it's kind of hard to be objective, and
Absolutely.
really give each and every song the attention it deserves. So I think that might have something to do with it, and plus we have some really nice acoustic sort of instruments in there as well. There's a little bit of violin, there's acoustic
Exactly.
guitars, there's even banjo in there in the intro of the title track, which is definitely a first for Soulwork, but I think it's gave it a new flavor, So
Absolutely.
yeah,
I listened to the violin in Electric Again.
yeah.
From who came the idea to add all these new instruments, as you said, banjo, violin, and more?
I think most of it is has been David. He's very he goes quite crazy in the studio, and most of the things he comes up with are great stuff, and he wanted to add some violin, and it's actually his girlfriend who's playing violin on the album.
Oh,
So it was really cool. I was a little bit skeptical at first, but then it added a nice element, and I was just thinking, oh, maybe we can't perform that live. But sometimes, not everything needs to be recreated from the album. Playing songs live. It's a different setting too. So I think it added a really nice flavor to the album, I would say.
exactly.
Yeah.
Also, the album sounds more dark and also with
Hmm.
some progressive touch, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us more about that orientation, that musical orientation you took on this new album.
Yeah, I mean it's we never really discussed what it is we're gonna do for each and every album. It just sort of happens, and I think we wanted to bring sort of the sort of classic heavy metal, sort of rootsy feel to it, but then blend it up with our classic melodic death metal roots, but also with a progressive touch. And there's you know. Great bands like King Crimson and Yes, and there's so many of them, Genesis, and I think those bands are definitely gods among some of the members of the band. So it's only natural, but it's nothing that we discuss very much. It happens naturally, and yeah, it's quite interesting to hear. It's like some people, mention like you. It's like, oh, it's quite a progressive album. It's like, yeah, maybe it is. It's like, and some, I don't know. I had the impression that it was quite straightforward, but with a lot of dynamics and very melodic and very easy to get into. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe it. It's very diverse, but it really feels like a unit as well, and it's probably our longest album to date, if we exclude the double album Living Infinite, of course. But I don't know, it makes sense. Every song that's on the album is making sense.
Absolutely.
So
Al-
yeah,
Also, we recognize the soil work sound as usual, but
yeah,
some progressive touch is are present on the album.
absolutely, yeah,
Of course, the title of the album um, seems to have a link with the pandemic situation we lived the past 2 years. Uh, do you think that this album is a concept album or not?
I wouldn't call it a concept album, and I don't think the title has that much to do with the pandemic. It was more something that we wanted to continue on a path after we released Verkligheten, another
Yes.
Swedish word which means reality, and we wanted to continue on that path and naming the next album in something with a Swedish word, something really powerful that most of us can relate to. And abandonment is whether people draw reference to the pandemic or not. I mean, most of us can relate to the fear of being abandoned, at some point in our lives, and also also abandoning someone or something, can be just as scary, and so you can see it from many different angles. And that was, that was our goal, to find a word that connects to the melodies on the album, which are quite melancholic, and
Yes.
quite typically Scandinavian, I guess, and also sort of rhyme with the overall feeling of the album, but also a word that people can relate to.
And can you tell us more about some meanings of the lyrics? I don't know, for one or two songs, especially that you like the most about the lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's easier to talk about like overall, because it's mostly me and David who has written the album, and Sven also contributed with a song. But the overall sort of lyrical topics, it's been a very interesting time and quite difficult time the latest years, especially since me and David have been on different planets. He's been going through the darkest time of his life,
I,
and meanwhile I have entered a very stable phase of my life the latest years, and we're very close, as friends, and but it's been hard to find a mutual sort of way, writing songs, whereas his lyrics has been very dark, and my lyrics almost became a reaction to that, because I wanted things to be, they can be dark, but I also wanted it to be very empowering and uplifting. So my lyrics became a reaction to his, and maybe he also reacted to mine. It's like, oh no, this is not gonna be some what is this Disney bullshit. I'm gonna write something even darker. I don't know, but we're like brothers in that sense, and I think that also created a very interesting contrast. And I think he always wants to escape reality, and I'm fine with being reality. It's almost like I want to be as much as possible in reality. When I start thinking about escaping and the universe, I don't know, I get lost. I just want things to be, I want to feel really grounded. So it's been an interesting exchange where I have to sort of keep David grounded, but at the same time he's also introducing me to the sort of the escaping reality a little bit. So it's I think that's what makes the album quite interesting as well.
exactly. So let's
Yeah.
talk about some songs of the album. There's
Yeah.
one song that I love a lot,
Mm.
and not just because the title is in French, so it's
Mm.
Nous sommes la guerre.
Yeah.
But we love the progressive touch of that song. It's a different song from the other songs. Tell us more about that song, about also the
Mm.
musical influences, and also the lyrics of this song.
Yeah, it's a beautiful composition for sure. It was created by David, both musically and lyrically, and it definitely sticks out on the album, And he also has a what do you say, a faiblesse, to use a French word,
Yes, faiblesse.
for French, for the French language, and he's quite good in French actually. And I wouldn't say he's fluent, but he understands most French, and so he wrote this in with not the entire lyric, of course, but the intro and also the song
Uh,
title. And
but why nous sommes la guerre? Why this?
yeah, we are the war. That's the translation,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, and it has, as far as I know, no connection to the ongoing war in Ukraine. I just wanted to clarify that. But I think I don't know. I think David is at war within himself, So I think that's what he's trying to express, I mean, I guess it would be better to ask him directly, of course, but that's how I interpreted it.
Great. There is also the song that I love a lot is the last one. It's
Mm.
On the Wings of a Goddess Through Flaming Sheets of Rain.
Yes.
There's a very dark final on this song.
Yes.
Tell us more about that song again.
Yeah, that's definitely one of David's darkest songs on
Exactly.
the album.
Exactly.
And at first, it's like, wow, this is really heavy. This is really heavy, and at first I had a hard time connecting to it because it was just so dark. And when you're in a pretty good place,
It's difficult.
it's hard to relate to it. And it almost takes you back to a point where you know that you just wanted to forget about, and but at the same time, I really saw how much he was hurting and still is, and I really wanted to understand, you know, his world, and I think he's really expressing all those emotions through that song and what he's going through, and that he's yeah, really really heavy for him, and
He's going better now.
things are looking a bit better, yeah. But I feel that he's been to at the very very bottom, and now he's on his way up. So I'm happy to say that.
It's just because of the pandemic situation and the lockdown.
No, it's something that I can't really talk about it, but it's
Yes.
it's something that happened even before the pandemic. The
Okay.
pandemic didn't make it easier, I think, because then a lot of people had to face their demons, because especially touring musicians, because being on tour is the ultimate escape.
Yes, absolutely.
Nobody says no, everybody says yes, and nobody knows what day it is, and and you can all throw our troubles away, and we'll just deal with them later. I'm on tour, blah 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 blah. So I think it's been hard for a lot of people, and I think maybe things escalated even more during pandemic. So it's
Okay.
yeah.
So let's talk about the artwork of the cover artwork, because it's very strange, because the colors are beautiful: red, blue, yellow, but
Yeah.
all those colors contrast with the dead bird.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of this cover?
Well, to begin with, we David had a friend who was really good at drawing, and he sparked the idea of having a hand drawn cover. At first I was a little bit skeptical, but then I was very curious to see, because the previous album Verkligheten, we didn't want to continue too much on that path, as far as the look of it. We wanted to do something completely different, because we're stubborn like that, I guess. And then I was curious to see. It's like, yeah, let's see. And I don't know. Somehow I pictured those trees. Those trees are very sort of typical from the part of Sweden
Yes,
where I'm from.
in the back of the cover. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Like the very south of Sweden, you can see a lot of those, and they're very sort of desolate. And I felt it's really connected to the title, so I asked the guy who's drawing the cover to include some of those trees, and it looked really nice, and it kind of gives it really like a lot of depth. When you look at the cover at a first glance, it might seem a little bit flat, but then when you start looking at it, it really sucks you in, and then so it was just a black and gray drawing from the beginning, and then it's like, okay, this looks good, but I think we should play around a little bit with colors, and so I gave it to my girlfriend, who's a graphic designer, and she played around with the colors a little bit, and I think it really did that last sort of flair to the cover, that and it looked really really sort of dark, but also, I don't know, like sad but uplifting, and somewhat empowering in a way. It's a tough balance.
Is there a meaning about the dead bird?
I mean, that's the abandonment. I guess it's symbolizing abandonment. I would say. You know.
Okay. So let's talk about touring because on the past years you haven't toured with SOILWORK because of the pandemic situation. So
Yeah.
we know that in November you will be in Australia for some shows, but of
Yeah.
course we would like to see you here in France and in Europe.
Yeah.
Do you have some plans to tour in Europe, and when this will be possible?
Well, as you know, there's a lot of traffic right now. Everyone is out there touring festivals. It's crazy. It's
Absolutely.
yeah. So I mean, we want to go out when there's not too much traffic. So I think we've decided to wait until very beginning of next year, and then it's going to be a massive European tour.
Okay.
So hopefully everything goes well until then. Knock, 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 and you know, it's oh man, it's a weird time we're living in. It's yeah, yeah, but we have a lot of good stuff coming up for you. So please be patient.
Okay, so thank you very much, Bjorn, for all these informations about the new album. I say
Thank you,
again,
my pleasure.
Overgivenheten.
Yes, brilliant.
And we hope to see you very soon here in France. We love a lot this
Yes.
album. Thank you for this great music, and hope to see you
Thank
very
you.
soon here in France.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Bye
much, and
bye.
take care. Okay,
Bye.
bye bye.
Ha ha ha!